Hi and welcome everybody. My name is Mo and welcome to my first YouTube video. Today I'm going to be talking about Areej le Dore's Classic Collection 2025 by Russian Adam. The reason I really decided to make this video right now is today is the 10th of September 2025, and Areej already has released the full set of Atars couple of months ago and full set of the classics a couple of months ago. And next week, this weekend, they will come out with the individual bottles and individual Atars. And I wanted to make a video to give people idea on what are these fragrance and how do they smell and what to expect before they go ahead and make the purchase. So I bought the full set of Atars and the full set of fragrance a couple months ago, and the full set of fragrance it consists of 5 fragrance, and it costs around 1,400 and change, and the Atars cost $500, and that's the set of Atars. So I'm not sure how to start this video, but if you guys want to have an idea about what are these smelling like and the art behind it, I would recommend watching Russian Adam's own video about the collection. And generally speaking, I do not like or I do not care much about the perfumer or the company's talk or what they're trying to say through their fragrance, because for most brands it's just a marketing tactic to try to get you to connect with the fragrance more. But with the case of Russian Adam, I think it's a very sincere approach and it's very true to what these fragrance actually are and kind of what they smell like. So to start off, not sure where to start, but let me start by saying this. These are more of a collector pieces than a fragrance to go out smelling good. They smell amazing, don't get me wrong. They're, out of my 200 plus bottle collection, they easily the best that I have so far. But I do not think the target of these was just for you to just smell good. You will be smelling good, but I think the main thing is you can look at these as pieces of art, collector pieces. And honestly, with the representation and how the uniqueness of every single bottle and the uniqueness of the smells, I think they're more fit into a collector, something that you can own for a long time and be proud of. And I love the concept, because in today's fragrance world where brands are pumping fragrances nonstop, there's very little originality and there's not much attention to details, and it feels like it's just a money grab. And with the case of Areej le Dore and Russian Adam, I feel like the brand and the owner are sincere in delivering a real good experience for what you pay for. So these are very hyped. They I managed to get them, alhamdulillah, thankfully, and they sold out within minutes. So, and that says something, because these are not cheap. So they are very much in demand and very desirable. And if, like, I can't say why would you buy those, maybe my video would help you, but for what they offer, it's very much worth the money, even if not more. And going by what are these, some of these are reselling for, which I don't care much. I'm not selling these, I'm keeping them. They definitely are in high demand. So next weekend, this Saturday, Russian Adam will be releasing these bottles individually, and I think also the Atars are going to be releasing individually. So let me walk you through a little bit of the representation and tell you about the scents and my ideas about the scents, right? So to begin, um, how these bottles are made and how they are represented, they are a work of art everywhere. The bottle designs are unique and extremely classy, and every bottle has a different design on the back. They're, I don't know what you would call that, they're crafted or they're edged, and the front is written by I think it's like a laser edge, and the fonts are really nice, and each bottle has a stone in the top of the cap, heavy, heavyish, and they have a stone in the bottom of the cap that is unique to every single bottle. And I do believe that they're not gonna be a stone that's similar for each individual bottle, meaning this is a Coeur d'Orsay 2, so mine's might, it smells really good, mine's might be different than yours, right? I'm talking about the stone. So I don't want to, I try to make this as brief as possible. We do have 5 fragrance and 4 attars. So let me start by saying this: the fragrances and the attars, they smell very similar, like they smell identical. So there's no differences, but the attars have some nuances, which is they're a lot more smoky and a lot richer. So do with that what you please. And if I had a choice of let's say, because this cost, the fragrance set costs 3 times more than this, if I had the choice, I would, like, I'd keep them all, but I would definitely go with the attars more than the fragrance itself, just because they give that extra feeling of richness and fullness of the scents. The only thing is the attars, they come in only these 4 scents, and what's missing here is the Oud Luwak 2. Now this is my first Areej le Dore fragrance ownership, and I haven't smelled anything from before, but from what I understand, that this collection is the most refined. So let's start. Here you have Inverno Russo 2. Again, I would like you to refer to Russian Adams description of the scents, right? Inverno Russo 2. I wore this a couple of times. Now, I just got these like 3 weeks ago, so I did not have a chance to discover everything about the scents and about the nuances of the scents. But Coeur d'Orsay 2 is a floral, to my nose, it's a floral oud type of scent. Florals here are not florals like, they're very, very realistic, jammy roses and florals. Now, the notes say what the notes say, right? From some of the notes says that the top notes are Omani, green, frankincense, co-distilled by Russian Adam in Omani, rose water, Bulgarian rose, and black pepper, right? So that's for example. The mid, you have more roses and flowers, and you have sandalwood, you have musks, and the base note, you have agarwood oil that's very aged, but you guys can read this on the website. What I get from this, now first off, let me say this. So all of these are an extremely rich, dense 3D, 4D, 5D type of scents. These are not necessarily, to my nose at least, I tried a lot of brands. I have over 200 bottles of just niche collections. Not major by any means, but it's enough for me to get my nose on different scents and different qualities. And this is by far the highest quality, the richest smelling. And what I mean by richest smelling is, I'm not talking about this specific, but the whole collection is the depth and the plenty of nuances and the richness of the scent. Not necessarily the strength, even though they are pretty strong, and not necessarily the scent itself, because you might have smelled something similar to this especially if you live in any Middle Eastern country. You would probably came across some of the Bulgarian rose or some of the frankincense or some of the ouds that you would find in this. But what sets this apart from anything that I have or owned, and I'm not talking about the scent again, I'm talking about these, the whole collection, is the richness of the smells. And it's really addictive. And it makes you not want to go back to wearing something that's commercially produced, because a commercially produced fragrance, to my experience so far, a lot of them are meant to be to tell you I smell good, instead of this kind of fragrance doesn't need to tell you anything. It's just you have to discover them. So with Curiosity, it's a rose, oud, frankincense. Now, what I noticed, I'm sorry, Inverno Rosso. What I noticed is that the scent is floral, and there's no development, like whether with this or anyone. Let me hold another bottle that I have a little bit more experience with, or more of my liking, which is War and Peace 3, right? So that goes for all of the scents. From the beginning, the scent come alive with all of these, right? So as soon as you start spraying it, or as soon as you spray the scent, or if you use the attar, the scent is alive with every facet of it. There's nothing, to my experience so far, that changes about these scents from the moment you spray them to, you know, whatever, 7, 8, 10 hours later when they start to fade away. And that's really amazing, because most of my other fragrances, there is some type of development in between, and I always associated high-end fragrance with like a lot of development, which is not necessarily has to be true, but this comes alive as soon as you spray it to the end. Now, out of all of these, my favorite is War and Peace 3. What does War and Peace 3 to me smells like? This is very nostalgic, and I couldn't figure out what the smell for a long time. But I think the nostalgic part for me was the smell of gunpowder and fireworks that we used to have. I grew up in Egypt, born and raised, and we used to have these fireworks that when they go off, they smell. There is a smell that's in here, and it's a very distinctive smell. I'm not sure what it is, because I haven't smelled every ingredient in here by its own, but I do think it's the resins. So what I get with this is a lot of smoke. This might be divisive, but to me, this is the best out of the collection so far. And what do you get with this? I don't think anyone has smelled anything like this before if you're not from the Middle East. So this comes alive right away. You smell that resin, or it's an woody smell. You can even say it's a lot of smoke, and it smells like gunpowder. It has this smell of, you know, when you have the heater in the winter. I live in the USA now, and in the winter between season, summer's over, winter's coming, and you get this, when the heater comes on, if you have a gas heater and you have the pipes, you get this warmth with smoke, petroleum, a little bit, not much, petroleum kind of scent straight from the start. And that's what you get straight from the start. And this is contrasted by some sweetness or softness, rose-like or buttery, maybe orange buttery like. And there is animalics in here, but I have kind of a high tolerance to animalics, so I don't get the animalics very much. This is a very opulent, serious scent. This is who I see wearing this, you know, some type of maybe best for a mafia boss, right? this is what you would want to smell like in battle. And to me, this is so far has been on top of the list. Whether it's this or the oil, which for me, I like I said, I'm more of a fan of the oil than the attar, than the fragrance itself, just because of the richness that they offer. There's the War and Peace attar. Again, it's the same thing. There isn't that much difference between them. By the way, let me show you how the attars are. When they come, there is I can't remember the name, like a Teflon, a little bit of a Teflon tape on top. Again, this is extremely rich, extremely smoky, powerful, you know, a little bit of animalic, but it is contrasted by the sweetness of the maybe the rose or the orris, something that is not like sweet, but there is sweetness. And I think if you're trying to make a decision on which bottle to buy this weekend, if you can only have to buy one, I would say you go with something like War and Peace. If you're looking for something special, it's not might not be as wearable, depend where you are in the world. Now, my second favorite would be Oud Luwak 2. Now, Oud Luwak 2 is the most challenging out of all of them. Not necessarily challenging to me, but it is challenging by definition. This is so gorgeous, right? Now, with all of them, you get a lot of smoke, a lot of depth, and animalic facets in every single one. There isn't any one of these fragrances that doesn't have these factors: smoke and animalicness, right? Now, with this is a coffee fragrance, right? And you can refer to Adam's video on the idea behind the fermentation of the coffee. But this is not coffee in a sense, or at least I don't get that, especially now that I'm smelling on paper. It's a little bit different, but this is a mix of, the coffee wise, a mix of burned or very much like roasted coffee beans, like very, very dark roasted. There is a smell of, you know, if you have a coffee machine at home and then you use a paper filter and then you're done with the coffee and you leave that paper filter to the side, and after a couple of days that scent still comes on, or you dig your nose into that coffee filter, that wet coffee, ground coffee smell. Also, you get, or that scent, maybe that same scent of that wet coffee grounds gives you that smell of gives you the smell of underground, like under the soil, like you dug your hand into soil where that soil on top is dry, but you kept digging till you got to the wet part, and there's that smell in it. I'm gonna make sure that my video's still on. Alright, I'm gonna wrap this up because we're 19 minutes in. So yes, you get that, you get a little bit of animalics. There is a lot of oud in here, but I don't know like how each individual oud oil in here smell like, so I can't judge. But I don't get anything that's overly fecal from any of them, honestly. Overly fecal or cheesy or fermented. There is fermented nuances in every single one, and smokiness, but I don't get it like some other fragrance, like a silver oud for example, from my watch. So yes, we said the coffee, we said the underground, right? The underground smell. You also get some sweetness in there. Now here with the notes. Coffee from Areej, oud from Morocco, royal civet, tonka beans, maybe that's the sweetness that's coming in, and vetiver and cedar. It's a very earthy coffee, earth, smoke. I feel like this brings you borderline of what's like really not acceptable in a fragrance. It's like Russian Adam, when he made this, he decided, I'm gonna push this as far as I can and then just throw in a net like a monster, that monster of coffee and oud. I'm gonna push it to the far limit as much as I can. Then I'm gonna hold it back, and then every time it try to runs away, I'll hold it more, right? So you get that back and forth with this scent. Okay, I gotta wrap this up, try to at least. So that's my second favorite so far. This one doesn't have an attar, right? Now, my third favorite would have to be Coeur d'Orcy 2. Again, amazing, guys, amazing. So again, go to Russian Adam's video so you can have an idea about why or how he created that fragrance. Again, it's the same thing, unique bottle. So this is the first, like the closest thing to this smell is a smell of a shoe, of a leather boot, or a leather boot classic polish, like you know, when you, those ones that you used to open the can, get the polish and polish a boot. This is very similar to that, but in a way that you can wear it actually as a perfume. It's very intoxicating. So you do get leather, you do get that smell of the polish. Now I don't know what these polishes had, so that can make them smell like that, but you do get that. And the cap, guys, look at the stone on that cap, guys, it's gorgeous. Same thing again, you get the smoke, you get the leather, like a Red Wing boot maybe, kind of leather, and you get some sweetness here. And let's see, birch tar, I guess that's what's giving me that leather smell. You get some animalics, blue lotus, pink and white lotus. I'm smelling this. I think that's the sweetness. Violet leaf, vintage violet accord. I'm getting that too. Roses, jasmines, vintage deer musk. So that looks like there's no woods in here based from the notes, but this is amazing. And the attar for this is from a different planet. That might be my third favorite, or between this and Antiquity, right? All right, let's move on. And again, I don't want to do the attars specific, like separately, because the attars, they smell exactly like the perfume. I like the attars more. They're more they're more aggressive, a little bit more aggressive. They're richer too, and smokier, all of them. And with Antiquity 2, the attar from Antiquity 2 is less fruity than the perfume, right? So Antiquity 2, this can be everyday scent. This can be worn year round. This can be worn anywhere and everywhere. I love it. I think that's the first one I wore when I got it. I just got it like a week or two ago, guys. This is a fruity, you can say it's a fruity oud. Let me see if there's actually, I'm pretty sure there's oud in here. Of course, there's oud, Cambodian oud. All right, let's see. Okay, you get hit with the fruit. You get hit with the peach. Peach aldehyde, that's what the bottle says. But it's fruit. It can be peach. It's very peachy. It can be apricot in your head. It can be some wild fruit from, some forest. But guys, this is a year-round scent. This is good. This is good. And again, this is fruit, backgrounds, smoke, animalics. I mean, I really need to smell every single individual ingredient in here to tell you exactly what I'm getting. Just giving you my the way I feel about it. You can read the description. The descriptions are amazing. There is leather, accord, there's deer musk, Indonesian patchouli. But yeah, there is, top notes here is peach and bergamot essence. Now, this top note stays the whole time. I wore this on a shirt, and this stays till next day. It was staying on the shirt, and I was still smelling the peach. So I guess if you wanted to decide, if you want to get something that you can wear daily, especially if you daily have to interact with a lot of people, this can be of it. Beautiful. And finally, we have the Inverno Russo 2. Beautiful bottle again. I think that's the most beautiful bottle. Maybe it is the most beautiful bottle out of them. It has the carvings on the bottle. Looks like the ice particles under a microscope. It's the only one that doesn't have dark juice. That's why it looks different. Again, it's beautiful. This is rose or flowers or florals. What do we have here? Yeah, like the frankincense and the osmanthus, and you're smelling this right away. Sandalwoods, and again, smoke, animalics, nothing super offensive, Beautiful. And the attar for this smells so classic, so Middle Eastern, so it's like when you go to Mecca or Medina or some type of fancy masjid, somewhat, and it smells like fancy, right? I think this is I can this is wearable, very wearable. It's just I don't know if that rose gonna turn people off or people don't like that rose, but it's very wearable more than anything. You can go for this or you can go for the antiquity if you want more wearable scents, less challenging, even though they're all beautiful. Now the representation of all of this is amazing. The video is getting a lot longer now. Again, I would go with the attars. If I had to choose, I would go with the attars. To me, this is a backup bottle worthy for any one of them, especially War and Peace or Oud Lawak or Antiquity 2. This might affect how you wear fragrances from now on, because so far it has affected me. I can tell now with other fragrances, even if they high end, I kind of can tell that they are missing something, right? Even though they might be nuclear, but they are missing something. Now, again, I would like to say that performance-wise, I got almost the same performance out of all of them. I'm not really sure yet how they are supposed to perform. They're very strong off the bat. For the first 3-4 hours, you're getting the full smell, the full profile, and it's strong and it's pumping. They start to fade away, but I think I need more time to judge on their performance. But they're not lacking for sure, and they're not beast mode anything. That the attars, they stay with you to the next day. Like if you put the attar on your beard and you go to bed and you wake up the next day and you wash your face, you're gonna smell the attar, but that's generally all the attars. Now, to wrap this up, guys, I think these are collector pieces. I don't think that if you don't have any fragrance to wear, that this should be your first fragrance, because it might be challenging. But then if you actually made that decision for them to be your first fragrance, you made the perfect decision. Can't go wrong with these. They appreciate and value. They smell amazing. They're full of good ingredients. I think that's like the only time I just want to buy the fragrance for the perfumer. The guy, I watch all his videos, Russian Adam. He's an amazing guy, right? You can learn a lot, straightforward. There's no BS, no back and forth. He says it as it is, and I love that, and I wish much more success for this brand in the future. And I will definitely be going for every new release that they will come out with. So that's it. If you have any questions, shoot it in the comment. I'll be happy to answer. And thank you guys. Bye.